Shalom, family. Shalom to everybody. This is kind of off the cuff, and I really wasn't planning on doing a live stream until I was reading and something caught my eye. And after it caught my eye, it put something in my head, and I was like, okay, this is something that I have to talk about. So, the Most High is going to inspire many of us to speak, and you should. And in fact, I encourage many of you to start getting on your channels and speak, because he's putting a lot of things in our minds and in our hearts and in our soul in these last days. He really is. And you can't tell me there are days, and you are Hebrew brethren and sisters. You can't tell me there are some days you go to sleep and wake up and things are weighing heavy on your mind. That's not happening for no reason. It's not. And you really got to recognize these things. And sometimes we got to move on it because the Most High is putting it there. Obviously, you are the person he picked to deal with certain things. So, I mean, you may feel, oh, I'm so overwhelmed. I'm a single mother. I did this. You know what? You know why you're a single mother? Because he trusts you more than anyone else with those Hebrew children you got. He trusts you. He knows you're going to do the right thing, whether you are a single mother or not. That's why always look at those children as your blessing, because they are your blessing. The Most High made it that way because he is the only one, you are the only one he trusts with those children. So then you step in and you act appropriately. That's what you do. Look, y'all, you think there were no single mothers in the Bible? Of course there were. Of course there were. There were women that were widowed and raising children. Some of the men did leave. Some were divorced and were with their children and raising them. Look, it happened all the time, but never look at that as a negative thing. See, in this society, they look at that as a negative thing. It's not a negative thing. You got those children for a reason. He trusts you to raise those children righteously for a reason. So we don't have to look at things. That's one thing we must break out of. We got to stop looking at things as Gentiles do. We already know Gentiles walk contrary to the word. They don't walk with the word. They walk contrary to it. All right. Look, we got a lot of learning to do. Not only here, but in the kingdom. We got a lot of learning to do. And there is no one that can profess on having all of the knowledge. There's no possible way, especially in the situation we're in, for you to have all of any knowledge. It is just not going to happen. That's unrealistic. So there were some stories I pulled up, and I'm going to talk about that and talk about some of the things that are going on today and some of the things that are really inappropriate that are going on too. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen with you. Just give me a moment here. So we're supposed to have broken our heat wave today. Man, I am so glad about that. It has been treacherous. Okay. I mean, some of the things that are happening in the country are mind blowing, but I think we kind of know that it's not going to be right, because one thing about America, America has never done things righteously. America has, they do everything unrighteously, but expect to be blessed. And we all know it just don't work that way. And it never will work that way, period. Okay. This is the last one. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay. I'm ready to share my screen. All right. All right, y'all. I got kicked out of my own live stream. All right, let me just hurry up and share the damn screen. I mean, when it rains, it pours, but we all know why these things are happening. But I'm here. We're going to go on. Everybody, if you can see the screen, give me a 1. Okay. Thank you, Sugar and Spice. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and get started. Now, last year, many of you might remember when the virus hit, they were letting inmates go. Now, according to the Hebrew Jubilee, once the Jubilee year comes, inmates are supposed to be let go and forgiven for their crime. But in America, they keep them in there for profit. So what they will turn around and do is get all these corporations and get work over to the inmates, and the inmates are making like 12 cents an hour. And those things are not supposed to happen. So when the Jubilee year comes around, the prison houses are supposed to be emptied. Everybody gets to leave. But America would never do that. So just think about this. Last year, the Most High pretty much forced their hand, and they had to let the inmates go because things were just getting so bad with CV, right? Well, Joe Biden has made a decision to return inmates back, which is against the Jubilee. And if you pull the stories up, it's getting really bad in the prison houses all around the nation. It's getting bad again. So look at it this way: the Most High forced them to do the right thing, but they are still refusing to do the righteous thing, dealing unrighteously in the land. Okay, that is according to Jubilee. So, and you can even read about this in the book of Leviticus. It will tell you Hebrew slaves, and we know most of the inmates are Hebrew, right? So we know our Hebrew brethren and sisters are the main ones they have behind bars, and that's by chance. They got it all rigged up that way. But they'll come back to you talking about we're criminals. No, the real criminals are the ones that came and stole the land. Those are the real criminals. So anyway, because they are not dealing righteously in the land, this is why everything is going wrong for them. Now, he wants inmates to go back, right? But inmates ultimately are going to come back out of there because the conditions with CV is continuing to get bad. So the Most High is forcing them to do what they should have done all along. But America won't forgive. And ladies and gentlemen, they won't forgive for profit. Just remember that. They won't forgive inmates for profit. And that's the only reason why they won't forgive. Okay, so they're justified. They committed a crime. Yes, they committed crimes, but you're not supposed to hang that over their head for the rest of their lives. Okay, this is why America is being dealt with unforgivingly. This is why you're being dealt with like that now. Okay, you are not supposed to hang a crime on somebody's head forever. It's supposed to be forgiven. All right. So moving on to the next thing that's heavily in the news, ladies and gentlemen. Student loans. Even this is unrighteous. All right. During the Jubilee year, all loans are supposed to be forgiven. America will not forgive for loans. They'll keep coming and coming and coming and coming when you owe. Student loan debt is at historical levels that have not been seen in this land ever before. And it's because when the lockdown occurred, there were many people that once were paying on student loans that can't pay them now. That is supposed to be forgiven. Joe Biden is saying he will forgive $50,000. No. The whole thing is supposed to be forgiven, y'all. Okay, according to our biblical laws, the entire debt is supposed to be forgiven. Joe Biden just wants to forgive a portion of it. That's not forgiveness. That's not going to be seen as forgiveness. It's not. The whole thing is supposed to be wiped out. So again, dealing unrighteously in the land, but expect to be blessed. That's what they're doing. Every dime of it is supposed to be forgiven. Anything short of that is not forgiveness. So forgiving 50,000, but you're stuck with the rest of the debt, that's not forgiveness. And it should not be looked at as forgiveness. Everything, if you have a mortgage, if you have a student loan, if you have a personal loan, a loan for business, every single dime is supposed to be wiped out. on the Jubilee. Every dime. And they won't do that. They won't do that. Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever seen something like this happen in America? I want y'all to take a good look at this article. I came across this yesterday and it blew my mind. The Great Resignation is still going on. Workers are out here saying they don't give a damn if they go into debt. They are resigning to the point where they're saying they don't give a damn if they go into debt by quitting their job. Have you ever seen anything like this before? I haven't, but that's what's going on now. Some people are quitting and say, I don't give a F if I'm in debt. So what? People literally, y'all, hate working for America. They hate these jobs out here. They hate it. And during the Jubilee year, you are not supposed to be out here working. Do you know you're supposed to be resting that year? You're supposed to rest. What did the Most High do? He forced their hand and locked the place down so that the workers could rest. His children can rest. Your children that were going to school, they could be home and rest. They don't have to be in Karen's classroom with a bunch of racist students. That's how it's supposed to be. So all of the unrighteous things, he's making it righteous now, isn't he? He's making it righteous. See, this is why you are finding comfort in being at your home and working. That comfort comes because that is righteous for you to rest during the Jubilee year, not get in the car, not get all dressed up, not worry about getting to your job, not worried about, oh my God, my boss is all down my back. No, you should be resting for that year. And it has never happened in America. Again, America deals unrighteously in the land, but expects to be blessed. Right? America's not going to be blessed. Not going to be blessed like that. Now, crops. You're supposed to let the land rest. Right? But they keep growing and growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. And now look at what's happening with the crops. Crops are burning up in the drought. Germany had a flood. The crops were all flooded. Hurricanes are tearing up crops. Tornadoes are ripping crops out by the root. Okay, look at all of the things that are going on. And it's because these folks will not let the land rest. So they are paying the price by losing their crops. They're losing everything. Dealing unrighteously in the land, but expect to be blessed. And it's just not going to happen, y'all. It's not going to happen. And look at what happened in Brazil. The coffee crops got hit with a freak frost. Took out the majority of the coffee crop. Won't let the land rest. Won't walk away from the land for 1 year and just let it rest. And this is because this place has turned into mass commerce, mass marketing, mass producing. It was never supposed to be that way. You only took what you needed and that was it. Nothing should have to be mass produced. But this is what they did. They turned it all into capital to the point where they have ignored the laws of the land that they should have been following. Everything is all spelled out. So there should be no one sitting around saying, I did not know. No one should be sitting here saying that because we got everything written, right? So they brought this failed capital system over here that failed over in Europe numerous times. All right. And they brought it to America, and I guess they thought they were going to get a different result. There is no different result coming. So as long as you are not following the righteous way of doing things, you have no chance of making it. Thank you, Cameron Charles, for the super chat. Sirach 10:8, verse 8, because of the unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. Oh, hallelujah for that one. Hallelujah for that one. Well, no, Mike, see, I think they know. I think deep down inside, they know what's coming. Now, yeah, I think there are some ignorant ones, of course, that won't even pick up a Bible to see what's going on. I mean, everything is written and what's going on with them right now. But you got to understand, their psyche is not like ours. Now, if it was us, I mean, look, we went through this punishment. How many of you picked up the Bible to find out why? Many of us did. We didn't. Once we found out who we were, we grabbed that Bible and sat down and read it. Y'all, I was so excited about finding out I was Hebrew. Do you know I didn't go to work? I started reading the Bible. I got so into it. I took that day off from work because I was watching videos and digging all through the Bible and reading it. And it got me so excited that I read the Bible 4 times. I read it 4 times. That first year that I found out I was Hebrew, I read it twice from cover to cover because it was that exciting to me. But see, when things are going wrong for them, they don't run to the biblical text. They sit around sulking. Why is this happening? Why is this happening? Where's God? Well, you have dealt unrighteously in the land. He's not going to be here for you. What do you mean? Where is he? Where were you? You were absent from him for 500 years. Okay. Now, but you expect him to be here for you? No, it don't work that way. It doesn't. But they're not going to pick it up. Their psyche is different from ours. They can't, it's hard for them to deal with and face the truth. It's a difficult thing for them. So they will, and I bet you all of them got Bibles in their houses and they will avoid it at all costs to pick it up and just read it. It don't take much to do that, to find out why your kingdom is fallen, but they don't want to know. So the fact that they don't want to know, they're just making it hard on themselves. And they got this thing going about, we're not going to close. We're not going to close. But in the meantime, everybody is getting sick on their job. Some places, all of their employees are sick. And they're shutting down a week here, 2 weeks there. I mean, that's all in vain. You're going to have to do all that mess over again. You know? But see, this is what happens when you run your system strictly on commerce. When one thing like CV happens, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. You have nowhere to go now. It's an all or nothing system. So if it closes, you fall. You don't have no backup plan. You thought that you had an indestructible system, and he brought a virus here to show you you didn't. You didn't. And don't worry about doing any more videos about black on white crime and black people are doing this, because we don't have to do nothing to you. We don't have to do nothing to you. The virus is doing just fine on its own. We don't have to rise up and we don't have to rise up and do nothing to you, so y'all can get off of that horse. Because the virus is doing everything we can't do. See, we can't be invisible. The virus can be invisible. We can't give it to your whole family. That virus can give it to your own family and you won't even see it coming. We don't have to go up to the schools and do things to your children. I got a story coming out on live stream in a few hours where Florida schools were only open for 2 days. 2 days. 440 children had to be quarantined after 2 days of school. We don't have to do nothing to you. Do you understand me? We don't have to do nothing to you. Right. Right. Dwayne Williams, they can't shoot it. They can't arrest it. They can't get the K9 unit on it. They can't get the SWAT team on it. Okay. They can't put it in one of their slave prisons to do work. They can't do nothing to it, but it can do plenty to them. Fighting an enemy like that, you can't win. You can't win. Okay? They can't win. And this is why you hear them all frantic on the media talking about unvaccinated people. That is not the problem, y'all. The problem is they have dealt unrighteously in the land. And now the punishment is here. It's here. Even when they are in their worst state, as we're seeing right now, they still won't do the right thing. They still won't do the right thing. So no, there will be no blessings. Not anymore. There are none coming for you anymore. When he said 400 years you will rule, as soon as those 400 years went by, he turned the lights off. Hold on, there's one more thing I want to show y'all. Hold on, one more thing, and this is really important. Let me see if I can pull that up, because some of y'all might remember this because I did a video on it. Let's see if I can find it. Wow. All right. So while that's coming up, I just got to wait for it to come up. So, I mean, I don't know why it's so hard for them to understand what's happening to them. But for some of them, it is hard, and it's going to continue to be hard because it's all about we need to stay in charge. And historically, ladies and gentlemen, no group of people have been in charge forever. And they're not going to pull it off either. And in fact, they can't pull it off in the state that they're in. And, it's so funny because when you look at many of the articles, people from around the world are astonished at how horrible America is doing through this whole thing. I guess because these folks have talked such a good game over the years. They talked such a good game. They made themselves seem like they could do no wrong. Everything they did was all good. Okay. All right. Can I find that? Can I still find that? Oh, here it is. This is one of them. Great. Now, when our 400 years came, we did get to, a lot of us, what we did was we came online and we talked about it. I did a live stream on it, which they demonetized, which I was not surprised. They demonetized my live stream on the 400-year anniversary that came. All right, y'all. I guess I must be getting to them because they done boot me off twice. They done boot me off twice of my own live stream. I must be really touching a nerve. All right, let me go ahead and share my screen because I did a video on this a couple of years ago. Some of you might remember this, some may not. Or if you're new and you really haven't been here long, you may not know this. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, when our 400 years came, we pretty much, many of our Hebrew family, the ones that are in the truth and without being in the truth, did videos. They either did videos or they spoke in some capacity about the 400-year anniversary. Now, we predate white people in this land. And that's another thing that they have been hiding for a very long time. We predate them. Our lineage goes way further back in the land than theirs do. They didn't arrive until, so if you're going to go by the slaves that were brought here, that predates them coming onto the land. So when we did ours, I did a live stream. They demonetized my live stream. We talked about the 400 years. I had a panel and, it just went off without any problems. We just did this online. Well, when the 400-year anniversary for the Mayflower came, they had to cancel it. They had to cancel it, y'all. They had to cancel it. Because by then, CV had arrived. CV came and destroyed their 400-year anniversary. They couldn't do it. So you tell me when their judgment started. See, some people believe it started in March. Actually, it started before March. They didn't get to celebrate the Mayflower arrival into Massachusetts. They didn't get to do it. And I did a video on this, and not long before these plans, that area got vandalized, and I did a video on that too. It got vandalized, the Mayflower, that whole area. They spray painted all over the monuments that they have there. And yes, they do have monuments over there. I don't know if any of you ever got to see them, but they are definitely there. So what does that tell you? They did not get to celebrate their 400 years. And we weren't really interested in celebrating the 400 years. What we talked about it, we didn't really make no big celebration out of it. They were intending on making a huge celebration out of theirs. People were going to go to Plymouth to celebrate, literally booking hotel rooms and everything, going to Plymouth, and it had to be canceled. So again, you tell me when that judgment began. Tell me when it began. I believe it began around that time. I really do. That's my opinion. You may feel differently, but that's my opinion. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to keep you long. I just had some things weighing heavy on my mind. I wanted to come out here and talk about it. And, that's all I really wanted to do this morning. So if you are able to be there at 1:30, I'm going to be doing a live stream on the 440 children in Florida that had to be quarantined after 2 days of school. So, and you're going to see in many of these articles, oh yeah, the kids are quarantined, but they're going back. Now, does this even make any sense? Your kids are being quarantined, but you're sending them back in a few weeks? Is there anybody with a functional brain running things in America now? I'm serious. Is there anyone with a functional brain doing this? Come on now. All right, y'all, please enjoy the rest of your day. And don't forget to come back at 1:30 for my next live stream. Shalom, family.